has come out. So let's go for a walk in the sun, shall we? As I say, out broadcasting, I try not to photograph people. I try to photograph the sites. So this area is used by the Laycock Allotment Association. Right, let's come round. And this is where the gardeners, I said Laycock already, you know where I am. When I've been live on Amazon Live on Tuesdays, I've been doing English country houses and castles, and every time I have shown you the National Trust website with Lacock Abbey. Well, today we're there. This is Lacock Abbey. We're just going to the gardens first, and then we're going to take a tour of the exterior of the Abbey. I've just been told that the upper rooms, I'm not sure whether I can photograph or not, actually close in 2 minutes. We're not going to make it. So here are the gardens at Lacock Abbey. And again, go out in the garden, look at the beautifully tended borders against the wall. I've not been down here before. Let's go down here because I can show you something. Okay, in the 1700s, the Abbey, which we will see in a minute, became the home of Mr. Fox Talbot. And Mr. Fox Talbot was a scientist, and dedicated to him within that building there is a museum of photography with cameras from the 1700s onwards, and it is well worth a visit. As I say, we're at Laycock Abbey, which is approximately 3 miles from Melksham and very close to the M4 if you ever get round this way. So let's go out of this particular garden. This is where everything is organised from, and it's a beautiful summer's day. Just to let you know, it's the 22nd of August, and Angelica is out in Avebury Village. She's going to the National Trust shop. We've just enjoyed a wonderful lunch at the National Trust restaurant, and it's given me the energy to actually come out here. Now I'm going to keep the camera on the left hand side because there are people coming towards me, and I'm going to head off over the grass. So these are the gardens that actually surround the Abbey, and as you can see from the height of the trees, they've been here quite some time. And there's a signpost here. Let's read the signpost so we know where we are. Abbey grounds to the left, Abbey entrance straight on, and toilets to the left. We're going to go over here though on our way to the Abbey entrance and come down to this beautiful column. I don't know whether it will actually have a note of what it is. Let's see, shall we? We can do anything. As we're out and about at Avebury and just looking around the gardens, and the beauty of the gardens is there are paths that you can go on, but unless they say otherwise you can actually go off the beaten track. But let's go back to the path. It's surrounded by farmland, and as you'll see shortly, if you've been, as I say, been following me on Amazon Live, you're about to see something very familiar. Right, ahead, because this was founded as a nunnery, we have the stable yards. And I'm just trying to avoid people, but get a shot of the stable yard so you've got an idea of how it used to be. Because this building, I'm trying to go over here, this building dates from the 13th century, and we're going to go through there in a moment. I'll just give you a panoramic view of in here though. We have in here, we have rooms, we have stables, we have the brewery, and I'm just going to go across here. Okay, So when this was originally built, and you can look up at the architecture and the clock saying it's nearly 4 o'clock. So there you are. It's nearly 4 o'clock and I'm here at Avebury, and we're actually going to have a look at the Abbey in a moment. But you can see this has all been preserved. It's not necessarily all from the 13th century. Some of it will have been from the 16th and 17th centuries. But I'm just going to go into the corner and just have a look. Now, Anglican and I are fortunate. This is actually on our doorstep, and we can come here and go for walks in the grounds. Now, not everything is open to the public, as that private sign dictates, but if I go over into the corner, you can see the windows, leaded windows, and the floor up there, and the floor up there, and a chimney at the top, which you probably didn't get in shot then. Okay, so just walking around, being nosy. The gardens here are just first class, and all the National Trust properties have permanent staff. They also have volunteers, and this is the area in which they have everything they need, the lockers, etc., and meeting rooms. But just look up at the clock tower. The clock, I can tell you, having checked my Fitbit, is actually telling the right time. Okay, so let's head out. Right, this is Avebury Abbey, founded in the 1300s and founded by Ela, who is Bishop or Bishopess of Salisbury. Everything revolves in our area around Salisbury. When we went to the castle in Devizes, the castle was actually built by the Bishop of Salisbury. So the church played a great part in life. This was a nunnery and was opened. It took its first novates in 1332. So we're talking a long time ago, hundreds of years. And if we look up, just a magnificent building. And for 100 and, I can't go in the entrance because they're actually closing, but I don't mind about that. But if we look back, there's the clock, and then just pan round. The whole structure was started in the 1300s, nearly 700 years ago. And we can see over the doorway hieroglyphics, which, or embellishments, let's call them that. Okay, now I do want to show you something which is peculiar, I think, to England. There is a wall which is enclosing the properties, and before the wall is a ditch. And this, if you've ever heard, well, you may not have heard of it, this is a ha-ha. And I don't know the derivation of the name, but we've got one, I showed you one in Devizes Park, and basically it's a ditch with a mound behind it and a wall. And all that was done when the Abbey was created. Okay, so let's go over here and get another shot of the Abbey. And it is a hot day today. Okay, and there's the main entrance. Well, presumably that was the main entrance of the Abbey. So if we just scan along. Okay, now I'm live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and my websites. Obviously, I'm the one who's actually carrying the camera at the moment. So if I cannot see your comments at the moment, I'm going through here. Okay, and I've got a trail that goes around the back. And this is a venerable old tree, isn't it? Just look at, I mean, the actual branches. Wow. It's incredible what you find. And as I said, this is surrounded by farmland. Now there's nothing grazing at the moment, but if we go over here and out of this secret, okay, we can come and get another view of the abbey itself. Now the ground floor of the abbey, I'll just come round a bit. Okay, the ground floor of the abbey was built in 1332. Then there was the Henry VIII came to the throne in England, and churches, and especially nunneries and abbeys, were dissolved. There could be no more, and the nuns who'd lived here and been taught here had to move, and they moved to nearby nunneries, and this was then closed down. Now it then fell into disrepair, but Henry VIII gave this to a baron, and the baron maintained the castle until the mid-1700s. Sorry, not the castle, the abbey. Maintained this until the mid-1700s. So Henry VIII gave it to an earl. The earl and his family looked after it. Then it went up for sale, and it was sold as a private building, and it was sold to Mr. Fox Talbot. And Mr. Fox Talbot in the 1700s actually built the second floor as we see it now. So we actually have two structures there. The lower structure, which was built in 1332, and as you can see, this is, especially on a sunny day, a favourite place for people to visit. Let's go over to the entrance and see what we can see. I know there's a verboten sign there, so we can't actually go in that way, but I'm hoping to go around. The problem I have with actually going inside the abbey is that I may lose Wi-Fi signal, which will most definitely cause a problem. Okay, now these grounds here are owned by the abbey, and as you can see, they're meadow and sheep. Seem to see sheep every time we go out doing these videos. If you're wondering where I am, I'm at Avebury in Wiltshire, and this is the abbey at Avebury, and I've come to this corner so that I can turn around and I can show you the abbey in all its glory. So I'm going to pan from the meadow over there and the ha-ha, which you'll remember. You've seen a ha-ha now, and come round and go to the top. Now, when the abbey is open to visitors, you can actually go in the rooms. The curtains are closed to protect everything that's inside, but you can actually do a tour of the rooms, and on Sunday you can do that tour until 4 o'clock, as I just found out. But the beautiful countryside around here, and there's a river running through it as well. So let's switch hands and just walk over here, and I'm going to see what's going to happen. But carrying on with the history, Henry Fox Talbot was, well, actually, he took the world's first ever photograph. Now the French may dispute that, but Henry Fox Talbot took the first ever photograph in the 1700s. He was a scientist and he was a pioneer of photography. And if it hadn't been for his work, and the work of the French obviously, I would not be doing this today. And the museum, which is part of this estate, you can actually visit on your visit to Laycock. So not only are you getting the opportunity to see around a nunnery, but you're also getting the opportunity to see photographic history with cameras, incredibly, from the 1700s onwards. And this is one place you do want to visit. I've given you so many places for your bucket list. Now I'm going to try and go in here. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm putting my mask on. I'm going to give them a head start. And I don't know what's going to happen to the signal. So this may be a quick visit. In fact, do we go in here? Well, after they've moved the pram, we shall have a quick look, because I should be able to get through that archway and show you the cloisters here. Because once we've gone through this bit, I'll just let them turn left. Okay, let's go for it. So this is the entrance to the Abbey, and I'm going to turn right here. And hopefully, yes, we've still got a Wi-Fi signal. This is the cloisters, and this is a quadrangle inside the Abbey. And I do hope that I'm still actually broadcasting live, because this is such an amazing site. Now preserved by a National Trust, who look after everything that's here. They don't dust very often because there are cobwebs there, but they don't need to. Now these windows obviously would have had glass in them, like the ones at the top over there, as we can see. But no, they don't. And this cloisters is reminiscent of the cloisters at Salisbury Cathedral. And you can see that for heating, there are chimneys everywhere. And then this is the North Cloister Walk. Okay, the refectory, that's the cafe to you and me, is along here. Okay, and this is the door through which we could go to actually visit. That's the seat for the custodian. But you can see, you've got an impression now of the cloisters here at just going out again, Lacock Abbey. Okay, so let's go out the same way we... Nope. I'm going to try and go out the same way I came in. Okay, because I don't know whether my Wi-Fi signal actually lasted and whether I'm still live or not. And you can't tell me, because the only thing I have, the way I'm doing this, is I have the Astra Studio streaming software on my Android phone. Then it is broadcasting via RTMP out to Switchboard.live, and Switchboard.live hopefully is sending these beautiful photographs, or beautiful video, out to the internet, to Facebook, YouTube and Twitter and my website. So wherever you're watching this live, do say hello, because if you don't, then I won't know that you've actually watched. So you've got two choices. You can either like the video or you can comment. And I've got a feeling this was built by Mr. Fox Talbot when he took up residency. He was a well-respected scientist, and as I say, he took the first photograph ever taken, which was of a window, and the photograph was actually onto glass plate, and then, as you and I know today, it would have gone through some form of developer and fixer and wash, and he got the first photograph. And if you look up Fox Talbot on Wikipedia, you'll find more information about him, and you can visit here. He lived here for his life, really. He lived in the 1700s, from 1700 to 1777. But as I say, the first use of this property was as an abbey, and was founded in the year 1332 by the Bishop S, if that's a word, of Salisbury, and then dissolved by Henry VIII. He gave it to landed gentry, and let's just go over here I can actually take my mask down now, just realised. Oh dear. Alright. Okay. So we're just walking around the grounds at Lacock Abbey, and let's see what we shall find. Now I'm not actually going to go diving, and I probably need to go to the side to give you an idea. There's always a fascination, we have a fascination with water, and there is here a man-made pool which is hidden by reeds. Okay, so we can just get a glimpse of it through the tree there, and it's a beautiful spot, and basically they've let it go wild. I wonder if we can see it from the other side without bumping into anybody. Let's go around the other side, shall we? Okay, I'm actually waiting for Angelica to catch me up. I told her the route I was taking, and she should be able to find me. Okay, I'm going to walk back around the abbey and hopefully meet up with Angelica. At that point, I should stop this video, but before we do that, let's have a look down here. This is in the grounds of the abbey at Laycock, and it does say it's deep water. Now, there are literally hundreds of lilies in that pond, man-made pond, and then you've got the countryside beyond. Okay, now I'll not disturb those people, because this is a great place to actually come for some solitude. Despite the fact that we came and went into the car park, which is £4.50 a day, if you want to know, the car park was absolutely full. But we're actually on our home. We're the only ones here. There's nobody following us around. So we'll go back the other way and get a second look at the beautiful countryside and the property. This property was donated to the National Trust by a descendant of Henry Fox Talbot, and she donated it to the National Trust to look after. That means that the National Trust don't pay anything for the property and take over the maintenance and upkeep of the property, and then open it to us, the general public. And you've got two choices. You can either buy a ticket when you come in, and that's a relatively painless exercise, or you can become an annual member. And as I keep saying, if you're visiting here from the States, you can pay for your annual membership by just visiting 2 or 3 National Trust properties. It's more than worth it. Angelica and I are members of the National Trust. We visit all the properties in our area, and when we travel throughout England, we can visit different properties. So we've actually been inside the Cloisters, which was there. I think everybody's gone home now, unless they know something I don't. Okay. And as I said, this is Avebury Abbey. It's close to the M4. It's close to Wiltshire, so it's easy to drive to. It's actually on a bus route as well, so you can take public transport. It's nowhere near a station, but you can take public transport and actually get here. So I'm going to put the camera on one side and just take you along this entrance to the abbey. And we might, well, that's the way out obviously. Okay, so that makes sense. But just look at the construction of the windows and the doors, and right up at the top. Just an excellent. But the thing about this is it is set in woodland, and there are many country walks around here. Let's see if we can just get to the doorway. Okay, I'm not sure if you're still watching this. I don't know. It's a fact that I don't know until I actually get back whether the whole of my broadcast has actually gone out live to Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. And there's no way you can tell me, because I can't actually see those, because the only thing I can see is the viewfinder on my camera, which is on my Android mobile phone. So, coming here, 3 things to do. First of all, go to the National Trust restaurant to get something to eat. It's the best place in town. It's not expensive and the food is good. Second thing is to come here, where I've just taken you a walk around and actually tour the Abbey. And then the third thing on your way out is to take a look around the Fox Talbot Museum. First photograph ever. And they always have a display on the upper floor of the museum by photographers from around the world, where they actually celebrate photography as to what it's become now. And we take this for granted. But 230 years ago, 250 years ago in actual fact, the first photograph in the world was taken within these walls. Just mind-blowing, isn't it? Okay, now if I walk towards the clock again, I should be able to see how long I've been broadcasting for. I always lose track of time when I'm doing this. It's great fun. If you're watching this on Amazon Live, thank you for joining me on Amazon Live on a Wednesday. This is when I actually return to actually play the videos that I shoot at the weekend. And that's the Abbey entrance. Go in that side, come out that side. And because everything's closed now, there are fewer people here. But it's just the architecture. I mean, that says Norman to me, but me and architecture are like me and flowers. I've no idea. So if any of the things that I've said during this broadcast turn out to be incorrect, then it's my doing. I do apologise. But the buildings, I've got to say that the buildings actually speak for themselves. And as we go back, I'm not sure whether we can actually photograph inside the Abbey. We just have to, like all things, having paid our first visit. Oh, I noticed electric light up there. They didn't have that.
Well, unless you do.
They didn't have that in the 1700s, never mind the 1300s. Okay, so let's just head off. And the sign is here. And we can see the Science Museum, the way out, the village and the shops. And the courtyard is that way. The Abbey is that way. And parking is this way. Let's just go down here for a moment. I'm actually on the lookout. Got to be honest, as we see places we've not seen before. I'm actually looking for Angelica. If you see her, just give me a shout. I don't think I've actually, it's private. That's why I've not been there before. That's why I don't recognise it. Okay, but these trees could tell a story. I'm sure they could. So with one last look at the Abbey, thank you for joining me on this walk on a beautiful sunny afternoon in Wiltshire in England. I'm just going to pan round and give you a view of the trees while people are walking past, and go back again, and I want to leave you with a shot of the Abbey itself. And I hope that I'm still alive. Okay, so I'm going to go into this corner, which is about as far as I can get. This is the start of the ha-ha, by the way. With the site of the Abbey in Laycock. There is also, next time we come, there is a village, Laycock village, which is where Angelica has been. And we can go around Laycock village and show you that as well, because that is a wonder. It grew up around the 17th century buildings, and it is a beautiful village. So we'll show you that some other time. So thank you for watching. I'll switch just a minute. I could break this. And thank you for watching. Take care. I will see you again soon. Bye.